US President Donald Trump is moving closer to a decision to supply Kiev with Tomahawk cruise missiles, a move strategically designed not only to bolster Ukraine's defense, but also to encourage hesitant European allies to follow suit. We are talking in particular about Germany and its Taurus missiles. This is what the Kiev Post wrote, citing knowledgeable sources. It is noted that this pressure is already leading to some diplomatic shifts, as German Chancellor Friedrich Merz announced that he will talk to Trump about joint efforts to also help end the war in Ukraine. This strategic maneuver will culminate in a summit in Washington. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is scheduled to visit Trump at the White House on Friday as part of a trip focused on securing critical capabilities, the article states. One source also told the publication that Zelensky's visit to the United States will also focus on discussing Ukraine's potential role in the United States' domestic missile defense strategy. The connection is part of Trump's vision for the Golden Dome for America Missile Defense Initiative, a program designed to modernize U.S. defenses against all types of air threats, including hypersonic missiles amid growing threats from nuclear adversaries such as Russia, China, and North Korea. The publication writes, the sources explained that the Tomahawk decision therefore concerns not only foreign aid but also the integration of Ukraine's military struggle into a broader, forward-looking American security strategy. As Glenn Howard, president of the American think tank Saratoga Foundation, explained, the Tomahawk debate is a calculated escalation with several goals, specifically aimed at preventing Russia from waging war. I believe Trump is using his recent actions in Gaza to aggressively renew the maximum pressure campaign against Russia. He's likely even inviting President Zelensky to publicly announce the transfer of Tomahawk cruise missiles, Howard said. He suggests that Trump's previous statement was a final warning to Putin, with which the US president was hinting, I told you so, but you decided not to pursue peace. If the US provides Ukraine with Tomahawks, this will undoubtedly increase pressure on Germany, which is still resisting the delivery of Taurus missiles, the expert believes. He also believes that this step significantly changes the strategic landscape, especially in relation to the Kerch Bridge and its future. The main catalyst for Washington's policy shift is the growing humanitarian catastrophe in Ukraine, which is the result of Russia's massive airstrikes on the eve of winter, said Yuri Boyechko, CEO of the American non-profit organization Hope for Ukraine. He emphasized the brutality of the strikes, saying they were not random but rather a clear, well-thought-out military strategy aimed at creating a large-scale humanitarian catastrophe. The attacks are specifically targeting power plants, substations, and gas infrastructure. This is a horrific tactic aimed at cutting off heat and electricity to millions of families across Ukraine, particularly in large cities like Kiev and Odessa, just when winter temperatures begin to drop, explained Boyechko. Washington may provide between 20 to 50 missiles, according to a Financial Times story. An unnamed Ukrainian official said Kiev believes the US president is closer than ever to a decision on missile deliveries. At the same time, the White House leader has made it clear that he has not yet made a final decision. According to the Financial Times, if Trump decides to sell the weapons to NATO allies, who would then transfer them to Ukraine, it would be the most significant military support from the US president. People familiar with the talks said Trump's positive change of heart was due to growing frustration with Putin. A former Pentagon official, Mark Kanzian, estimated during a recent military exercise that the US has a total of 4,150 Tomahawk missiles. However, the states will likely only be able to supply Ukraine with a few of those missiles. Defense experts say this is because more than 120 of the 200 missiles the Pentagon has procured since 2022 have already been fired. Furthermore, in its 2026 budget, the U.S. Department of Defense requested funding for only 57 additional Tomahawk missiles. FT suggests that Washington will likely also require Tomahawk missiles for any possible strike on Venezuelan territory.
Over the past 24 hours, from October 13th to 14th, the Russians lost another 1,200 troops on the front. The Ukrainian armed forces also destroyed 5 tanks, 29 artillery systems, and 145 vehicles. This was reported by the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. In total, over the past 24 hours, the Russian army lost approximately 1,200 soldiers. The Ukrainian forces also stressed that in the past day aviation, rocket troops, and artillery of the defense eliminated 7 concentrations of personnel and equipment, 3 command posts, and 2 enemy artillery assets. In the North Slobozhansk and Kursk directions, 6 combat engagements were recorded. Russian forces delivered 6 airstrikes, dropping 11 guided aerial bombs in total, and conducted 157 artillery shellings, including 2 instances of employing multiple rocket launch systems. In the South Slobozhansk direction, 15 engagements occurred in the areas of Vovchansk, Kamianka, Kharkivka, and along the directions of Bolohivka, Dvorichansk, and Kolodyazn. In the Kupiansk direction, Russian troops attacked 5 times. The defense forces repelled assault actions in the areas of Kupiansk, Petropavlivka, and toward Kurilivka. In the Lyman direction, the enemy tried to advance 14 times in the areas of Rykivka, Darilov, Shandryholov, Novoselivka, Karpivka, Torsky, and near Olhivka, Lyman, and Drobyshov. In the Sloviansk direction, the enemy attacked Ukrainian positions 7 times in the areas of Yampol, Serebryanka, and Hryhorivka. In the Kramatorsk direction, the Russians attacked the defense forces' positions twice in the outskirts of Stepachki. Over the past 24 hours, from October 13th to 14th, the Russians lost another 1,200 troops on the front. The Ukrainian armed forces also destroyed 5 tanks, 29 artillery systems, and 145 vehicles. This was reported by the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. In total, over the past 24 hours, the Russian army lost approximately 1,200 soldiers. The Ukrainian forces also stressed that in the past day aviation, rocket troops, and artillery of the defense eliminated 7 concentrations of personnel and equipment, 3 command posts, and 2 enemy artillery assets. In the North Slobozhansk and Kursk directions, 6 combat engagements were recorded. Russian forces delivered 6 airstrikes, dropping 11 guided aerial bombs in total, and conducted 157 artillery shellings, including 2 instances of employing multiple rocket launch systems. In the Dniprovsk direction, the Russians conducted 3 offensive actions in the Antonivka area. In the Volyn and Polysha directions, there were no signs of forming offensive groupings of the Russian army. Overall, in the past day Russian losses amounted to 1,200 personnel. The Ukrainian defense forces also destroyed 5 tanks, 29 artillery systems, 390 operational tactical level unmanned aerial vehicles, and 145 units of enemy automotive equipment.